All right. Welcome back to another episode of In the Green Bets. Justin and Grant back here, gearing up for the Wyndham this week. Coming off another Tony Finau win, though. And unfortunately for the margin betting, another Tony Finau blowout. That'll happen, I guess, sometimes when birdies are plenty, but, we'll stick with it. But impressive stuff from Tony. I mean, he made one bogey the whole week and just made like 28 birdies.
Yeah, he hit a hot streak right at the right time with the mix of the strength of the event and the courses that he was playing at.
Yeah.
So he kind of struck gold in that sense of his environment and situation. But good for him, right? He got questioned years and years for not being able to close wins out, and now he's doing it, 2 back-to-back ones. We'll see what he can do, down the stretch as we get into these playoff events. He actually won a playoff event last year, right? Was that one?
Yep, Northern Trust.
He won last year, so maybe continue that. I had Cam Young in my one and done. I didn't have Tony Finau available, so technically I did the best option that I could have done, which is really good. So I'm in 13th. I think you still have a fighting chance if you get a win and a couple other good finishes.
Yep.
So both of us are in the hunt there, and that was a good thing. I have a bunch of really good 30s. Pendrith, who was competing for the win. Taryn, who was playing really well. I think had somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Matchups were good. I think it went 2 for 1. I still was a really good week for me outside the margins, which sucks because that's usually like the cap that kind of puts you over the top and makes it like a great, great week.
Yeah.
But didn't happen, and we get ready for one more kind of shaky event, and we got some real events coming up.
Yeah, I hit Chris Kirk top 20. My other derivatives kind of sucked. I went super light. I had like 140, 130, one other 20. They all missed the cut. Outrights, I didn't really have anybody super close. I would say Cam Young on the one and done side, which was nice to see. It would have been nice if he hold that putt for solo second, but you'll take a T2 and in a one and done, particularly this late in the year with the field like that. So thankfully, I was debating between him and Zalatoris so hard. And I went with Cam Young. Just I mentioned on the show last week that I've been talking about it for like a month, picking him at one of these shitty events. So worked out. This week will be interesting on that side of things. This is a week where you probably get a decent mix of people in the one and done side of things. Hopefully, one of us can hit the winner and really you'll either catapult up into the top 10, or I can get back inside the top 20 with a win. We'll see though. These last 3 weeks, some of the more boring weeks in the sense that fields aren't very good. Nobody's really showing up, but there is a lot at stake as far as these guys' playing careers, keeping their cards and that thing. There's a lot of guys. I'm going to pull it up later in the show. Guys who are floating right around the 125 mark. I think some of them are worth a look on like a top 30, top 40 basis. We'll see. But let's dive into Wyndham. Sedgefield Country Club. It's classic golf course. It is tree lined, long Bermuda rough. Got to be in the fairway. Got the green and reg percentage and the fairway hit percentage here are high. That's mostly due to the fact that you have to do it. So guys are laying back off the tee, making sure they're getting in fairways, and then hitting decent sized greens. They're not too tiny, but the putting surfaces themselves, these are original Ross greens. They're difficult, and we've seen over the years some really, really good putters win here. I don't think it's a tournament where you're going to get somebody who's typically bad at putting win. Now, somebody may ball strike their ass off to a top 10 or something, but it's going to be mostly guys who are at least pretty good at putting up top. So a bit of a different card for me. I think this week I don't usually bet a lot of these guys. Putting's not always predictable, but you got to have I think you have to have like a baseline skill to succeed here on these greens.
Yeah, when you look at the past kind of leaderboards based on strokes gained, it was guys who putted really well or they had some crazy week on approach and they didn't kill themselves off tee. Off tee hasn't really mattered that much. It's a fairly short course.
Everybody plays from the same spot pretty much.
Yeah, everybody hits to the same spot, tree line tight, and then you play in from there. That's why we've seen a lot of similar guys play well here year after year. We've seen a lot of course history that I think that's going to be showcased on both of our cards. One thing I wanted to bring up, I have a little stat here. I was going through a couple models, and I wanted to look at what mattered, last year on the leaderboard. And if you stroked by good drives gained, which is they either hit the fairway or they hit the green if they missed the fairway, which means it wasn't bad, or if it was in a still a decent landing spot. the top 5 guys finished 7th, 10th, 24th, 10th, 29th. So although it wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see how, being in the fairway or playing from spots that the rough doesn't really matter to you, it's going to be good here, or at least just play in the fairway. Which also, if you see a lot of people's models, you're going to see fairways gain, guys who don't hit it very far, they just play out of the middle the whole time. So I think that's going to be a theme on my card for sure.
Yeah, and we had that like 6 or 7-way playoff, whatever it was last year,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just watch it in the playoff. Like the guys who weren't in the fairway, it was so much harder to get the ball close. It's important here. Most guys are going to do it. That's one thing to consider. Also, it's like a lot of the guys will take whatever, an iron or a hybrid or whatever, get it in the fairway. But the guys who can hit driver in the fairway, I think Joel Damon's mentioned this a lot, talking about his own game. He doesn't hit it far, but like there are certain holes where he feels comfortable enough to hit a driver and he can get it out there and stay in the fairway. Where like the Cam Champs of the world maybe would do that, but we've seen all the bunters and the putters do well here, so we're going to be riding with bunters and putters for the most part. Let's take a look at some odds here. I'm not. Shop the shit out of them because I was just looking around earlier. They are way different in multiple spots. I'm not touching any 120 or better here. The odds just are not good enough. None of them are really like. Lowry's form and Sungjae's form are fine, but not those numbers. I like Horschel this week. He's in my one and done conversation. Webb's form, I know he's been great here, but at 20-1 with his form, I'm out. Anybody out there that you like?
No, I was going to do the next one at 25. So whenever after that, I'm going to start there. Russell Henley. I had not bet this yet, but if this is the one I'm looking at for the highest one I got, he got top 10 last week. Approach has been amazing the last few rounds, although his putting has been pretty bad. What is he right there? 24. Okay. His putting, although has been bad, if you look back at his Wyndham finishes, his last 3 times the Wyndham, he's gained each time 1.3, 3.6, 2.6. And if he gains those types of numbers, he's going to play well. There's 2 top 10s in there. There's a top 30, which is a 31, whatever. Either way, I like guys with course history. I think this is pretty much the most bettable number at the top of the board.
So I'm going to go with a different guy in that range. Adam Scott, 31-1. Made the playoff it was in like the top 10. I can't remember if he was in that playoff or not. I think he was in the playoff last year.
He was. It was him, Sloan, Na, Siwoo, Grace, Kisner.
Played well at the Open, 37th last week. So, playing fine. I don't really care so much about his week-to-week form. He's a veteran guy. His putting has been better. He's not necessarily somebody you think of as a great putter, right, but he has putted better this year. Obviously has the Wyndham success. I think he's kind of like middle of the pack in the FedEx. I think he could use a big week to kind of position himself better for the second and third weeks of the playoffs. So I like him at 31. I've seen a lot of people on Siwoo. Yeah, this course is great for him. Siwoo at that number is just dangerous for me. Not cut Connors. I'm sure he can ball strike his way to a top 10. I'm not touching him. And then Varner, there's no way in hell. So down the board, I get the Tom. Like I'm not betting Tom Kim, but like he's fucking good and he can go like crazy, crazy low. So and he hits a shitload of fairways. I think he's second in fairways gained over the last 24 rounds.
He hits a ton of fairways. He makes a lot of sense to play well here.
Yeah. So he locked up his tour card last week for next year too. He was on that special temporary exemption that Zalatoris was last year. Earned enough points to match whatever the 125 was from last year. I think that's how that works. So he's locked up his card. He can't play. I don't think he can play in the playoffs. I don't think he's eligible for playoffs like Zalatoris was. But either way, good showing for him last week with that. What did he shoot on Sunday? Like 61 or 62, something like that.
Yeah, he was
9 under, I think.
Yeah.
So good for him, and he's a super young guy. Denny at 30 is just absolutely ridiculous. Same with Seabez. Although this is why I was saying shop around because this course sets up nicely for Seabez. Has a couple okay finishes here. He's 46 over here. Like that is a humongous difference.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's going to make the card at 46, but he's in the pool of considerees for me.
So I like Hatton here at what was Hatton on draft or on FanDuel? You had him pulled up there.
35. I don't mind that either.
So 35. He was 30 on the other one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 35. That's even better. He hasn't played since the U.S. Open where he had a top 11, but I think he fits well here. Bermuda is his best putting surface. He's a fairly good putter. He has been putting, pretty well as of recent. He can make a lot of birdies. I do worry that he's not going to hit on a lot of fairways, but I think just with his ball striking, he'll be able to just, lay back, not go crazy, and play okay. Right there, we got top 10 in stroke game, par 4. I just think that with his skill set,
it would be this portion that scares me, but he's such a good putter and ball striker that, that may not matter.
I like the idea of guys when they club down or they're not trying to hit it as far in a tournament like this. I feel like their fairway hitting should go up.
Yeah.
I assume so, especially with a ball striker like Hatton. And I think that if he gets in contention and it starts to play as if, hey, just hit it in the fairway, then you can just dart throw from there. I trust him there and just hope to God that you don't have a Sunday where he's throwing clubs in the water.
Yep. None of these other guys really in this range are. I guess I don't hate Kisner, but he played bad last week. Pendrith obviously played great, but I don't know how great of a fit this is for him.
He does hit a lot of fairways for him that far, though. Pendrith does.
Yeah. I guess maybe that could be an advantage for him. The next guy that I'm considering, there are two guys right in a row, Aaron Wise and Justin Rose. Wise's best number I could find is 40. Rose is 50. Basically, their model plays for me. Wise popped first. First in my model. Good approach numbers. Makes a bunch of birdies. Good on par 4s. Has good proximity. This range right here has like crazy abnormally high amount of shots this week compared to regular tour events. So like half of the approach shots come from here because all these par 4s are like 4 to 450.
Yeah, they're all the exact same thing. Yeah.
I like him a lot. Just purely model based. He's been playing okay. I don't really care about like the random miscut from Wise because he can kind of get it going the wrong way quickly. But three tries at the Wyndham, nothing real great, but has putted good a couple times, which for him is kind of what I'm looking for. His putter is usually the determining factor. But at 40, pop first in my model, that's I'm usually going to play that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then I mentioned Rose at 50. Rose, this is why I like him. 17th in putting, 12th in birdies or better gained, but second in proximity in both 100, 125 to 150 and 150 to 175, which are like the majority of the approach shots this week. He's been playing okay. Good putter, good Bermuda putter. 3 made cuts in a row. He was top 10, 10th at Wyndham last week. Proven winner. A guy clearly he's trying to get some ground made up in the FedEx Cup because I don't think he's super high either. So at 50, I like him a decent amount.
I'm going to add that. I'm going to add Rhodes at 50 also with you. I don't have really many more guys in this area, to tell you the truth, until we get more towards 100.
So I like Stallings at 60. It's very, very similar play. I know he's kind of hits it far. He's not really somebody that fits this, but 4th in approach, 16th in birdies or better gained, and he has excellent proximity numbers as well, and plays par 4 as well. And he's on a fucking heater.
He is
three straight top 10s. This is one of his better seasons he's had. He's been a bit obviously hit or miss, but like when he's been on, he's been finishing in the top 25. He's got the putter going a bit. Approach and off the tee numbers are super good. And at 60, I think that's a pretty fair number for a guy playing that well.
Yep, I'm with you.
These 3 guys right here, Streelman, Svensson, Hubbard, all fit nicely, all playing okay. Not going to be on the outright card for me, but definitely somebody I'm looking at, on the derivative side. Now, there are a couple guys down here that I think are worth a stab in the dark.
Taryn is a guy with really good recent form. We've won some money on him, but my eye kind of catches on Taylor Moore right there. I think that that 130 number is a pretty good number. I have him pulled up right here. He got sixth at the Rockets Mortgage, made top 25 at Barbasol, top 25 at John Deere, made the cut at Travelers before that. His approach has been awesome. He gained 6.4 at Rocket Mortgage and gained on the green, which is great.
Putter's been good.
Yeah, his form is really good. And when you look at him in the model,
49th in mine.
he was top 20 in good drives gained, which I kind of talked about earlier, which I like, which my model kind of had a little bit of weight on. So that's something I like. I think this with the recent form and his approach play, I think he's going to be a good play at 130 for a guy you're just trying to convince yourself could be, a realistic bomb.
Yeah, I don't mind Tarrant or Moore. And another guy, Yeager, played excellent last week.
Yeah.
He's probably more of a derivative play. This guy right here, Harris English. If we're talking about guys who can roll the fucking rock, that dude can putt with anybody. He hasn't been sharp since he came back. Like, not a question. I don't know that I'm not sold on him at 130, but 130 for a guy of his caliber with his putter. The one thing I do like is that since he's been back, I'll pull it up here. The putter has still been there. The other stuff ain't good. I know that. I'm not saying it's like destined, and he's missed 2 cuts in a row. But the putter has shown back up. So if he can just get the putter, continue to go, and then find something with his damn irons, I think he's like a good top 30, top 40 play, depending on what those numbers bear out to be. He's priced really wrong considering his like baseline talent. I know he's coming back from injury, but I do like that.
Yeah, Whaley at 150. We talked about him pre-show.
Yep.
He's a guy that has really good recent form.
We're getting out of the guys who can win range, but
Yeah, maybe this is more of a 30, but Whaley was a really good Bermuda putter when I was looking at my model. Also, birdie or better last 24. Whaley was at like 6th right there. So really good form and can make a lot of birdies and can roll the rock. So he's another guy that kind of fits the bill of what we've been talking about.
There's a few other guys. So Gluggage, he missed the cut last week for me on a top 40, but he's been playing excellent golf before that. It's possible he just got a bit burnt out or got a bit overpowered on that type of golf course. This one makes maybe more sense for him. Matt Wallace playing good golf. Got another guy who can roll it. I'm going to be betting him in some capacity probably this week. Grayson Sigg had been playing very well up until last week as well. I think he was my 30 that lost. This course maybe fits him a little bit better as a guy who doesn't hit it quite as far.
Yeah.
Cheston Hadley's had a few good finishes recently. He can putt it too. Get farther down here, I think we're in the doesn't really matter. Justin Lauer, excellent wedge player according to the stats. Good putter as well. Had some okay finishes, but those were in weaker fields, so probably a little bit too far down.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is more so we've kind of hit that longer shot derivative guy. So I think let's kind of move on to there.
Yeah. So on the 20 side, I'm going to be living in this Rose, Wise, potentially Poston, Stallings, and then those guys I mentioned earlier, Hubbard, Streelman, Svensson. Maybe even mix some of those in as 30s. I like all 5 or 6 of those guys I had written down here.
Yeah, Ches Reavie is a name that popped really high in my model. He was really high in good drives, really high in fairways, which obviously goes together. Ball striking was top 30, and opportunities gained was top 15 along with approach. So he was a guy that I would maybe consider if you're looking for somebody a little farther down. I don't really know why. I guess he got a really good finish at Travelers, and then top 50 3M, and then top 30 at Charles.
He won the whatever that event was 2-3 weeks ago, the Stableford event, Ches Reavie.
Oh, they don't have it logged in here though.
Yeah.
But either way, he was a guy that I was like, man, if you're looking for a little more value, Ches Reavie could be a guy. But that's if you're
his Wyndham history is not great.
Yeah, that's more of a straight
5 missed cuts and 8 starts, 0 top 30s.
So take it easy on that then.
But Rose, Wise, Stallings, Streelman, Hubbard, Svensson, those are like the main guys for 20s for me. You get down to the 30 range, Taryn, Taylor Moore, Jaeger, maybe Harris English. Get down farther in the 40s, Gligic, Wallace, Whaley, Hadley. Those would be some guys. Sig potentially. Um, those are going to be some pretty solid numbers.
Yeah, I'm with you on all those. I like Stallings and Whaley and Moore in English for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna look at some matchups here. Oh, that's an interesting matchup. Kisner minus 120 over Mitchell. I mean, I guess Keith Mitchell, you put him back in the South, he's going to show up and play okay. But
yeah,
I'm not sure what Keith Mitchell's form is like right now. Granted, Kisner's form's not great either, but this course has been very good to him. Killer Keith, 97th in approach, but his putter has been nice.
Really good. Would you take Henley or Siwoo in a matchup if they're priced the same?
Henley, only purely because I kind of trust Henley a little bit more. Siwoo definitely could beat him, but I just
the one that pops up right here, Davis Riley plus 105 over Poston. I know Poston is obviously a really good putter and has had a win here recently, but Davis Riley, I mean, everybody wants to bet him, and they're right next to each other in my model. I don't mind taking the ball striker over the putter, although Poston's ball striking has been pretty good. I think those guys are more so even rather than the other way around.
What just happened? Lowry over Zalatoris. I don't love betting against Zalatoris really ever, but like this course sets up way better for Shane Lowry than it does for Will Zalatoris.
Yeah, this is not a Zalatoris course. I mean, he could make any course a Zalatoris course, but
he could ball strike his way to it. But like, I'd prefer to take the guy who can putt it better and has just as good a form for the most part. That's just kind of me, though.
Adam Scott and Kisner are priced the same.
Well, I got Adam Scott plus 105 over Webb.
I see. I think Webb's going to play well. I think I'm going to use him for a one and done. So I don't know if I can bet against him.
Yeah.
This is minus 114 Scott over Kisner. We just talked about Kisner does have the course history, but recent form, that's all over Adam Scott in that matchup.
Yeah. Holy shit. Webb's Wyndham record is unbelievable.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I was going to bring it up later because I think he's going to be my one and done pick, but
Jesus Christ, it is unbelievable. His form though, his recent form was terrible.
Well, I don't think terrible is the word. I think it was okay.
He has one to finish inside the top 70 since in 6 weeks.
Hey, he was still top 25 in the model, in mine at least.
Where is it?
Yeah, not
38th in my model. He's 107th in putting, which is really strange for Webb.
We've seen Webb do that though, where he gets on courses where he's comfortable and he plays well all of a sudden.
Definitely, so. I'm not I don't necessarily want to fade Webb. I'm just saying his form's bad. I don't know that. 3 missed cuts and a 69th in his last 5 starts.
I got a matchup for you.
Granted, most of those courses don't really fit him that well.
Tyrrell Hatton as the dog to HV3.
Sign me up for that. Although this is very much an HV3 course where he just makes 1,000 birdies, but makes 3 stupid swings that cost him the win. That's a big time HV3 thing.
Tom Kim over JT Poston. I'm not going to JT Poston fade, but these are decent numbers for JT Poston.
Yeah, that's not terrible. I think I wouldn't be shocked if Tom Kim played well again. He's really, really good, and he's kind of this might be stereotypical, but he's kind of got the Siwoo vibe of just I'm just golfing, dude. I don't really give a fuck about whether or not I play good one week or the next.
So we both like Stallings. I made some money on him last week. He's minus 110 as the dog Denny. Denny does have really good course history here. So
I'm worried that Denny could just
putt.
He could just gain 10 on the greens and finish the third, and then that would suck.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against the putters, but you can get some really good value on recent form this week.
Horschel minus 120 over Connors. Horschel's been great here, and his form's not terrible either. So I don't hate that.
Yeah, you kind of have to pick a side on these matchups because they're all each one of them.
Here's a nice Justin Rose plus 126 over Brian Harman. What's Brian Harman? His form must be excellent. I know he popped pretty high in my model.
Well, this should be Brian Harman Paradise.
And Brian Harman has 2 top 10s and a 27th among 5 other missed cuts here. So he's been a bit hit or miss. But his recent form is very really good. Bad. So maybe that's not, but I do like the price. I mean, that's
pretty good.
Price. Stallings minus 120 over Munoz.
Yeah, Munoz can make a lot of birdies though.
Yeah, but he can also make a lot of bogeys.
Yeah, he can. You always get those fucking matchups against Munoz, and then he shoots like 8 under on the first day.
Yeah, he's a first round leader, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Sometimes you can backdoor him if you get the right guy, but the matchups are going to be hard this week because there's a lot of the same types of guys here. And,
it's a bunch of them. I always find
and 20 plus under is probably going to win, so you're talking birdie fest. It's hard to predict. Give me the harder golf courses for sure.
I honestly think I'm going to be fairly light this week, especially going into the playoffs. So I don't really want to waste much money, especially coming off a good week last week. I'm going to be pretty selective. I'll probably do some, just start comparing models to guys and go, pick some guys, those traits that we talked about and kind of go from there.
All right. So I pulled up the standings here. Some guys who are potentially in danger need a good week. Grayson Siggs, 111th. He's probably in. So assuming a bunch of guys behind him don't make the cut, but you get down here closer. Doug Gim, 116. Callum Tarrant, 118. Probably needs a good week to ensure.
Yeah,
Tyler Duncan, 122. He's a bunter and a putter guy. Now I don't know if his form is very good, but somebody consider Webb is 126. So Webb needs a good week. Now these guys I think are going to be bumped up a few spots because of the handful of live guys that are still included in this list. But so Webb 126 needs a good week. Chesson Hadley 131. I mentioned him earlier. Playing some okay golf, good putter. Ricky Fowler 133. Matt Wallace 134. Don't mind either of those guys. Ricky don't like to win, but he can. His putter typically used to be so good, and now it's just not.
Yeah, I'm keeping it simple this week. I got Webb. We've already made the case, so that'll be my one and done. I'll make it easy. I'll make it easy for the conversation there.
Yeah. So let's pull up Webb's. His Wyndham record because it is astonishingly good. Let's do a little screen share here. At the Wyndham.
Holy shit.
How's that? 5 straight top 7s with 4 of them being in the top 3. Another 5th and 6th and 11th. He had one bad year. He was doing all this losing strokes putting the first few years.
Yeah, if I get 5 strokes putting this week, we're gonna be rolling in dough.
Yeah. So 1 and done for me is, let me pull it up here because I'm sure I have Webb available. So in theory, you could play him, but everybody's going to be playing fucking Webb this week.
The other people I considered are Henley and Scott.
Horschel is the guy that I'm probably going to use. He's super high owned, or super high availability, but pretty much everybody is in this field. So I can't use Webb. I used Webb at John Deere.
Oh, there you go.
So not even an option. For me, it was between Horschel and then going down to get somebody like Adam Scott or Kisner or Post and somebody like that. So it'll probably just be Horschel. I still have a sneaky feeling about Justin Rose this week, but probably just going to stick with Billy Ho. And Billy Ho absolutely boned me 2 years ago when Jim Herman won this. I had him on an outright at 35-1, and he basically just made absolutely nothing coming down the stretch and lost to that fucking rat face Jim Herman. So that was frustrating, but. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to the well on margins. I know there was a playoff last year. I don't really care. I know that the last 2 weeks haven't gone great. Don't really care. In time, it will even itself out. And we had a really nice run earlier this year, so maybe it's
Yeah, I
maybe
don't.
this is it evening out. But
Yeah, this isn't
we
even.
got
Yeah, that's not even necessarily the right wording because we should be up. I don't even know. I haven't done the math recently, but we hit a bunch there. We had a big long streak. So
yep,
if anything, we're evening back the other way. So that's not even a bad thing.
yep,
You just have to shut your eyes and bet it.
yep, yep. Um, yeah, I for me, my favorite bets this week, Rose and like installings, I like quite a bit too. They're both just kind of rolling, fit nicely, and then obviously, one and done. One and done is so hard. I wish there was a better strategy because
Yeah, I think my
it's gonna
best
be weird because next week, uh, next week is
next
FedEx
week
or is
is
St. Jude, right?
yes, St. Jude.
So I'm gonna probably play Morikawa, and then the last week I'm probably gonna play Scheffler.
I think we're gonna have the same one, unless I pick Victor. I'm not sure yet.
It'll be kind of course dependent. Obviously, next week I know it's probably gonna be Morikawa because that course sets up well for the iron players. But I don't remember where. I can't remember. It's at a new venue, right? 2 weeks.
What?
The BMW. Yeah, it's in Wilmington.
Yeah, this is actually a perfect segue into our schedule release because we now have the BMW back in Illinois, and you and I's home state. We also have a bunch of increased purses on the schedule. Like tournament champions went up to 15 million. I got them listed right here. FedEx St. Jude's at 20. The players is at 25. Only 70 pros are going to make St. Jude. Then it jumps down to 50. Then it jumps down to 30.
Yeah.
We had a couple little changes. We don't have that much though. Didn't really change it. Besides the purses, wasn't that much.
The next year is when it's going to change more because you're going to get it's only going to FedEx is only going to be January through the end of the season. That fall is going to be different. So next year won't be a bit different until after the FedEx Cup. Once the FedEx Cup playoffs go last year, we're going to get a different. They're going to get that fall series of all the guys who weren't in the top 70 playing for whatever the rest of the spots are. Plus, you're going to get the big money exhibition type things for the good guys. Olympia Fields is where the BMW is going to be next year. We should try to find our way up there.
Yes, I don't know if
I think I can get us on if we wanted to go play it. As a little preview during the summer, I could probably get us on.
Yeah, I could potentially go to a playoff event and the Masters in the same year.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we've talked about that, but Grant,
I don't know if we did either.
Masters tickets.
Masters tickets, yes. We
Year
are going.
one of putting in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wednesday practice round tickets. So we're it's like a 1% to get actual round tickets, but four practice round tickets. So we're going to Augusta next year, which is crazy to see.
Absolutely insane.
I think we'll probably make a whole weekend of it and stay down there, play some golf, maybe come home. That's the thing. You just go home like Saturday night, so you can watch golf on Sunday. Like you can play some golf Thursday, Friday.
Yeah,
they can make a weekend of it. But Wednesday tickets. So practice round, par 3 contest. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, and then we have some other big news outside of golf in F1 today. We hit the summer break.
And yesterday, because yesterday was when Alonso basically told him I'm gone.
Yeah. So we have Vettel retire on the race weekend.
Well, he's going to retire at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, he announces it on the race weekend. And then we have Alonso announce that he's going to fill the spot with Aston Martin, but supposedly didn't tell them, and they figured it out while he was on vacation, and they found out.
Didn't tell Alpine.
Yeah, they found out via social media. Yeah. So then Alpine announces that they're going to sign Piastri because he's in their development. They're going to promote him. And then he comes out and says, I haven't signed anything. I'm not driving for Alpine.
So Piastri is in a weird spot this year because he won F2 last year, so he couldn't race again in F2. So he's just I don't even know if he's racing a full series or if he's just doing practice and development stuff with the F1 teams right now. But yeah, he put out a statement that's I did not sign with them. which makes me think he's definitely got a ride then, because there's no way you're doing that if you don't have a seat. Like, you need to
Yeah,
keep your options.
it makes all sense in the world that he's going to join McLaren, and Ricardo is going
Plus,
to be.
Alpine's been pretty damn good. Like, they're going to finish fifth probably or fourth in this, the point standings. Ocon is like up there in the point standing. So in theory, that car is going to be fine. But if you McLaren or Alpine, that's pretty easy. But,
Yeah, it seemed as if the Alonso move was just strictly about commitment to multiple years. It seemed as if that's what he wanted. He wanted to kind of prove himself that this is not a retirement tour for him. This is something that he wants to do long term. Stroll obviously told him, like, I'm going to invest bajillion dollars, so you don't have to worry about it.
And you're going to be the best driver because my son sucks.
Awful. Yeah, he's got awful. So it's going to be interesting to see where he lands and who fills that Alpine spot, because we also have an interesting thing happening is that the F2 American driver who won, I can't remember his name, Trevor something, he got signed on to run the Williams car in practice in the Austin, Texas race.
Williams is going to have 2 new drivers probably next year.
Potentially,
right?
Yes.
I mean, almost Latifi, like he has to be gone. He wrecks every race.
He's gone. It's just a matter of if they bring back
if they want to keep
Albon. Yeah. Or if Albon goes somewhere else. I don't know if he could go to Alpine or what.
The weird thing with the only thing with the McLaren Piastri thing is the Colin Herta situation, because he's been driving their cars and practicing. I don't know if maybe he's just like a year, maybe he's still in waiting, or I don't really get that for sure, but.
And that's what I wanted to bring up, the guy getting the practice rounds with Williams, is because we're getting a lot more momentum here in the last year with American drivers. It's been pretty obvious that if somebody can find one, that's good. They're going to try to get him in there, but just based on the fandom that could bring behind it. So it's very interesting. I think this is going to be fun to see where he lands, and then see how Ricardo answers questions in the media in the next, when they get back from break, and how it all shakes out, because this is, they say the silly season, right? And then now we got like drivers going back and forth about contract negotiations on Twitter. Like, this is just like peak drama.
Do you think there's a chance that Piastri is going to get Yuki's seat, and maybe Herta is going to go to McLaren?
No, I think if anything, Piastri should be in McLaren. I think he's a better prospect than Herta.
Yeah, but if you're Piastri, would you rather get in the Red Bull track and potentially take Perez's seat, or would you go tie yourself to being Lando Norris's B guy?
I think you go to McLaren just based on safety. I mean, you get them out, you get in, AlphaTauri. There's no guarantee at all that you're going to even get mixed up on there.
Yeah, I was just trying to play it out, because I guess I don't understand the investment in Colin Herta if you're not going to bring him over.
Well, maybe he's a test to see if he's good enough, and if he wasn't like stellar, and this is the other option, then you can still say, hey, we're going to try him out, and then we'll keep him on the back burner. It doesn't seem as if he's like super ready. I don't really know that, obviously.
No, that's what I was saying, is maybe he's a year or two down the line,
right?
And there's a lot of musical chairs with this.
I mean, Piastri won. He won Formula 2. He's on the fast track to being a really good driver. There's been some amazing. George Russell's a guy
he
who
honestly kind of got fucked out of a seat this year, just
right.
Kind of like a weird timing and contract thing. Like, I mean, he probably should have been in one of these cars. Also, maybe he turned down like a shitty Williams seat or something like that. It's like, no, just wait, get something better.
I personally think he's going to end up as a McLaren, but we'll see.
I agree with that. I think that's the most likely, but I'm interested to see how the Herta thing goes, because I'm sure these guys want to get some American drivers in their cars if possible. And maybe one of these guys, maybe K-Mag won't be back, and Haas will bring in, a Herta or somebody like that. One of these, or one of the that American F2 guy.
I mean, Lando is a very popular driver in America, based on his social media presence and how young he is. So that they already. McLaren has a little bit of that. I mean, you see their, obviously, if you live in the United States, you see their commercials all the time with him and Zach Brown on the TV. But I think just with how young and good looking, and he's that young, fresh social media star, I think they already have a pretty good presence here in the U.S. If they could get another young driver who's really good, that'd be almost ideal for a team like that.
Yep, I agree. But we're on summer break. Max has a humongous lead. Mercedes
it's going to be fun
Mercedes
to
is making
watch
a pretty.
them battle. I think it's going to be fun to. Mercedes is going to make a push for second. That's for sure happening. So
Yeah, that's going to be kind of the battle to watch. I mean,
right.
Leclerc had cut the gap enough that if he had a good race, these last 2 races, he would have been right there. I mean, he would have been within 20, 25 points. But
right.
Stupid shit, they have shot themselves in the foot over and over and over again this season. He honestly should be close. He maybe could be in first if they didn't do dumb shit all the time. So between the team fuck ups and him doing a couple stupid things, also like just kind of pissed away a pretty good chance because their car is probably just as fast as Red Bull, I would think, most weeks, depending on the track, obviously, but most weeks they've been as fast.
I will be having some Mercedes car race winner bets after summer break, so that's coming. So we'll have to talk about it here.
Saw Russell qualify first, so they're catching up a bit. Will they catch Red Bull and Ferrari and actually like on track speed? Probably not, but
no.
Eventually, they're going to get the strategy and get close enough to win.
And Max has been finishing all the races, and he doesn't do that. Like that's not like him.
Eventually, he's going to take himself out, or their car is going to blow up, or something.
Yeah, that's just how.
Lewis has fought like 6 podiums in a row, and most of them have been just like everybody else fucks up, and he just keeps running a good race.
Right.
That is one thing about Mercedes cars; it's reliable as hell, but it's just not that fast. I'm sure they'd like to change that. I'm sure they'd rather have really fast and less reliable, but you get what you get. Otherwise, sports are pretty boring, and we're rolling into a few nice weeks of golf here, and then a couple week break. But then we got President's Cup, which will be fun. It'll be interesting to see how the live stuff kind of develops over the next couple months too, because we're going to get a few live events this fall as well. But
I still haven't really. I'm fairly open to it. I'm not even like that against it, but I still haven't found like any interest in it. Like I don't ever watch it.
I don't like care who wins. Like I just
right. Yeah, it's not really there for me yet. But I would be if it was fun. I just don't really find much interest in it yet.
No. All right. Well, put your money on Webb, Bailey Horschel. Find your bunchers and your putters. This is the week forward, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.